Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy Tuesday to you. I'm going to go ahead and cover Ethereum here once more because one of my community members, I believe Alex, he's a new member as of yesterday. Thank you so much for the request. Just going to go ahead and cover this and kind of take a look and see, what's potential option, what direction is it planning to go. That's the whole point and purpose of this, to kind of give you best practice and big picture, and just know I love teaching people to trade. I hope you can learn something here today. If you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is the website. Link in the description below. And obviously let me know if you want to become a better trader, because that's the whole point. I offer a trading academy, community, and signal group, and it's a really awesome experience to be able to kind of learn and grow together. And I provide you with signals, trading signals that I send out, so that way you understand how to structure your trades as well. You can follow along if you'd like, but generally speaking, I share that so you understand generally where we're at. We've been taking some decent profits here recently on some longs yesterday, but again, we have a pullback from Bitcoin, as we can see here from Ethereum too. So we'll take a look at that. All right, so here's kind of where we're at. Let's go ahead and go with the larger time frame on the daily and kind of see. And first of all, we do have this ascending trend that was broken. It's not really relevant now, but could be a potential resistance later. But generally speaking, we can also see that we have a descending type of trend here too. So big surprise, the price action cannot pass that plane. Bitcoin has a very similar struggle right now. So, again, that descending trend kind of tells you that a long position may not be extra viable at this moment. But once again, Bitcoin is approaching its bottom, tentative bottom, again, depending on the traditional markets. We looked at the traditional markets for my Bitcoin video today. They're both down by close to about 1%. The regular markets are coming down. Dollar index is drawing debt. So that basically implies that Bitcoin is going to continue to test this area until it either A, breaks and the traditional markets come down further, or the regular market just decides to recover, pull its head out of its ass, and the price action comes up. So again, there's a lot of different things factoring in, okay? So it's not just how great or how terrible a coin is. It can behave a lot different than you might expect, but it's also very expected to based on the traditional markets, all right? So again, try to recognize that and understand that. So that being said, that preface in place, look at the standard stuff here. We can see the RSI and the MACD are not looking fantastic. We keep getting rejected by 50 on the RSI, and we have this descending type of trend here, essentially, which is just kind of confirming the price action continuing lower. So this is positive in a sense, because if this continues to come down and average itself out closer to 30, we should expect the price action to increase as a result of that, based on that convergence, so to speak, on the RSI. That being said, though, we don't have anything of that sort on the MACD, and that's important to recognize because it's one of those things that doesn't necessarily tell us a lot. All right. In other words, this tells us that the bears are losing control, but it doesn't say anything about the bulls being in control, right? And yes, while they were in control yesterday, they had that natural knee-jerk reaction of the price action increasing from Bitcoin doing well. It's still not a positive thing, okay? So in the overall sense of things, Ethereum is not doing fantastic, but it's absolutely doing better than most coins. You got to recognize that too. It had a very good little run here when Bitcoin was kind of sort of struggling. Okay, so again, Ethereum, it makes sense for the corrections to take place and the price action to come lower based on that sentiment. Again, just kind of a general thought here, but that's kind of where we're at. We can see the price action kind of sort of bouncing off 50 on the RSI. Bitcoin is having a very similar situation, only at 30. So, with Bitcoin being overextended to the downside, so to speak, and almost, being exhaustive, so to speak, then we can see here that Ethereum could very well recover. All right, so it does seem like the likelihood of the price action coming up is there, at least on the midterm. The macro doesn't tell us that yet. But once again, we got to break through this little resistance descending trend here, because it just keeps on holding the price action down. And a trend is your friend until it obviously changes directions, right? So when it cheats on you, then it's best to not be a friend again, right? In that sense here, if we get this line to cross, we get this to cross over this line and kind of hold for some time instead of these little candle wicks that we're seeing that are failed attempts, then at that point we can expect the price action to continue at least sideways, perhaps even up, and or use that as a support level once it breaks above, right? There's a lot of different scenarios that could unfold, but generally speaking, that's what we're looking for, is a break above that descending trend. Until we're there, I would say a short position might be viable, right? Not saying you want to take a short, but if you have a short open, the likelihood of it pulling back greater is there. But once again, Bitcoin's on a razor's edge. If Bitcoin drops below 19,000, just say 500 from yesterday's low, or 19.8 as the average price, then I would say Ethereum will obviously drop as well. Ethereum has corrected itself pretty decent, there's a 5% correction from Ethereum, whereas Bitcoin only corrected, I think, 3%. So it's almost 2x of Bitcoin right now. So again, the trading Ethereum is essentially 2x more risky. And so twice as risky, right? So just something to remember. All right, let's go ahead and summarize here and call it a day with the Ichimoku cloud. Good news is we're still up over the cloud. Bitcoin is down below, but on here we can see for Ethereum we're still holding strong. So that's a very positive sign in the overall sense of things. It does imply that we could in fact see the price action retest this level and potentially break it this time. All right. So on the micro is looking pretty decent in this regard. Keep in mind the lagging span is intersect with the price action. So if you have a long position, you should have closed it by now. And of course, conversion line intersecting with the baseline, kind of telling us there's a convergence on the moving averages. So in all reality, this is somewhat conflicting, but mostly positive in the sense that we're above the cloud. And that is the most important thing to me, is to stay and remain above the cloud. So since we have that from Ethereum, that's a positive sign. The last thing we also want to take a look at is TD sequential. We came up to a 7, got a reset, we're down to a 6. Bitcoin's at a 7 right now. So hypothetically, we only have a couple more hours of downside before the price action continues either sideways or up, right? But again, we hit a 9 previously, got a reset up to a 7. It makes sense there was a correction. That happens all the time. You see 2 9s in a row on TD sequential to the upside, you can expect the price to pull back. Very last thing we'll take a quick look at here is just the Bollinger Bands. And see, we came outside that standard deviation down here, and the price action is recovering. Big surprise, that's very standard stuff. A lot of people will actually take their trades based on this situation here. Key level support plus a bounce off the Bollinger Bands makes perfect sense, and you can confirm that probably with the volume weighted average price too. They speak the same language. Based on the volume, the price was overextended to the downside, and it essentially is telling us that while we're below the volume weighted average price, that works as a resistance, we still have a likelihood of the price action coming up to test that level. Okay, so again, that's just kind of where we're at here for Ethereum. So honestly, the macro doesn't look great, but the micro looks better. So if you kind of translate that, so to speak, as long as Bitcoin holds 20,000, Ethereum should continue to increase and break that descending trend. I'm excited to find out what happens. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, comment below, let me know, of course. Love to hear from you. But that's pretty much all we have here so far for Ethereum. Pretty good stuff in the overall sense of the smaller time frames. It's looking better than the larger time frames, but I'm not gonna, sugarcoat it. It still looks just generally terrible. The whole market right now looks bad. All right, so we can't, try to act like it's not there. But if these descending trends start to break themselves, which Bitcoin is on a very similar plane right now, then we could very well see some positive things. And again, 28,000 retested from Bitcoin, Ethereum somewhere in the range of 2,000 to 3,000. That's a possibility, distinct possibility. In fact, the very last thing to kind of throw out here too is if you see here the price action, we could literally see 1,800 again in the next couple of days if the price continues to break this trend. Right? Again, that's hypothetical, but generally speaking, that's where we're at. And it's looking pretty decent in that regard, but no doubt about it, the macro looks terrible. So it really depends on what kind of trader you are. If you're a swing trader, wait for confirmation. We want to break that trend line. If you are a day trader, now is probably the best time to get in and ride that little wave while it recovers, right? Again, different schools of thought, but that's generally where we're at. So hopefully this, again, made sense to you. If you want to become a community member, CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below. Thanks again to all my current community members as well. We have over 200 active members. It's an awesome experience. Thank you so much for making my life a better place. All right, I appreciate you. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.